Strategy formulation is the process of developing, evaluating, and selecting strategic alternatives that enable an organization to achieve its vision, mission, and long-term objectives. After completing environmental analysis, industry assessment, competitive analysis, and strategic positioning, managers must decide how the organization will compete, grow, allocate resources, and create value. Within the global MBA curriculum, strategy formulation represents the core decision-making phase of strategic management. It transforms strategic insights into actionable strategic choices that guide organizational direction and performance. Strategy formulation answers one of the most important questions in management. Given our environment, capabilities, opportunities, and challenges, what should we do next? Leading MBA programs emphasize strategic analysis and decision-making frameworks that help organizations identify and evaluate strategic alternatives. Modern business similarly focuses on executive decision-making, strategic thinking, and resource allocation under conditions of uncertainty. In today's business environment, characterized by technological disruption, geopolitical instability, globalization, sustainability pressures, and rapidly changing customer expectations, effective strategy formulation has become one of the most valuable leadership competencies. 2. What is strategy formulation? Strategy formulation is the process of designing and selecting strategic actions that will enable an organization to achieve competitive advantage and long-term success. It involves answering several critical questions. Which markets should we serve? How should we compete? Where should we invest resources? What capabilities must we develop? How can we create sustainable value? Strategy formulation converts analysis into strategic choices. The process requires balancing opportunities versus risks, growth versus profitability, innovation versus stability, short-term performance versus long-term value creation. Effective formulation provides the foundation for successful strategy implementation. 3. The strategy formulation process. Strategy formulation typically follows a structured sequence. Step 1. Review strategic direction. Managers revisit vision, mission, core, value, strategic objectives. These elements establish boundaries and priorities for strategic decision-making. Example: if an organization's vision emphasizes sustainability leadership, strategic alternatives inconsistent with environmental objectives may be rejected regardless of profitability. Step 2. Analyze strategic inputs. Managers integrate findings from environmental analysis, industry analysis, competitive analysis, internal analysis, SWOT analysis. The goal is to identify strategic opportunities and constraints. Example: a firm identifying strong technological capabilities and growing digital demand may consider digital expansion strategies. Step 3. Generate strategic alternatives. Organizations typically develop multiple strategic options before selecting a preferred course of action. Common alternatives include market expansion, product innovation, acquisitions, partnerships, cost, leadership, digital transformation, international growth. Generating multiple alternatives improves strategic flexibility and decision quality. Step 4. Evaluate strategic alternatives. Managers assess alternatives based on strategic fit, financial feasibility, risk profile, resource requirements, competitive impact, stakeholder implications. The objective is to select strategies that maximize long-term value creation. Step 5. Select strategic direction. After evaluation, leadership chooses the strategic path that best aligns with organizational goals and capabilities. The selected strategy becomes the foundation for implementation and resource allocation. 4. Levels of strategy formulation. Strategy formulation occurs at multiple organizational levels. Corporate level strategy. Corporate strategy addresses what businesses should we be in. Key decisions include diversification, acquisitions, vertical integration, geographic expansion, portfolio management. Example: Amazon.com, Inc. expanded from online retail into cloud computing, entertainment, logistics, and artificial intelligence. This represents corporate-level strategy formulation. Business-level strategy. Business strategy addresses how should we compete. Organizations select competitive approaches such as cost, leadership, differentiation, focus strategy. Example: Apple Incorporated competes primarily through differentiation based on design, innovation, and ecosystem integration. Functional level strategy. Functional strategies support higher-level objectives. Examples include marketing strategy, financial strategy, operations strategy, human resource strategy. Functional alignment is essential for successful strategy execution. 5. Strategic alternatives. Growth strategies. Organizations seeking growth typically evaluate several strategic alternatives. Market penetration. Increase sales within existing markets. Methods include marketing campaigns, customer retention programs, pricing initiatives. Example: increasing market share through aggressive customer acquisition. Market development. Enter new markets with existing products. Examples: geographic expansion, new customer segments. Example: Starbucks Corporation expanding into emerging markets. Product development. Introduce new products to existing customers. Example: technology firms continuously launch upgraded product lines. Diversification. Enter new products and new markets. Example: the Walt Disney Company expanded from animation into theme parks, streaming, and consumer products. Diversification offers growth opportunities but also increases complexity and risk.
6. Corporate strategy alternatives. Corporate-level strategies influence enterprise-wide growth and value creation. Vertical integration. Expanding along the value chain. Backward integration. Moving closer to suppliers. Forward integration. Moving closer to customers. Example: Tesla Incorporated invested heavily in battery production to strengthen supply chain control. Strategic alliances. Organizations collaborate while remaining independent. Benefits include shared resources, market access, risk reduction. Example: technology firms frequently form strategic partnerships to accelerate innovation. Mergers and acquisitions. Organizations acquire or combine with other businesses. Objectives include market expansion, capability, acquisition, synergy creation. Example: Microsoft Corporation's acquisition of LinkedIn strengthened its professional networking ecosystem. 7. Competitive strategy formulation. Competitive strategies determine how organizations achieve advantage within industries. According to Michael Porter, organizations generally pursue one of three generic strategies. Cost leadership. Objective: become the industry's lowest cost producer. Advantages: lower prices, greater margins, competitive resilience. Example: Walmart Incorporated leverages scale and logistics efficiency to maintain cost leadership. Differentiation. Objective: offer unique products or services. Advantages: premium pricing, customer loyalty, reduced price competition. Example: Apple Incorporated differentiates through innovation and user experience. Focus strategy. Objective: serve a specialized market segment. Advantages: deep customer understanding, strong niche positioning. Example: luxury brands target affluent customer segments rather than mass markets. 8. Strategic decision-making tools. Several analytical tools support strategy formulation. SWOT matrix connects strengths and weaknesses with opportunities and threats. Managers identify strategies. Use strengths to exploit opportunities. WO strategies address weaknesses by leveraging opportunities. ST strategies use strengths to mitigate threats. WT strategies minimize weaknesses and avoid threats. TOS analysis, an advanced extension of SWOT that generates specific strategic alternatives. TOS transforms analysis into strategic recommendations. Scenario planning. Organizations evaluate alternative future environments. Examples: economic recession, technological disruption, regulatory changes. Scenario planning improves strategic flexibility. 9. Strategy formulation and resource allocation. A strategy without resources remains an aspiration. Effective strategy formulation requires decisions regarding capital allocation. Where should financial resources be invested? Human capital. Which skills and leadership capabilities are required? Technology investments. What technologies support strategic objectives? Innovation resources. How much investment should be allocated to future growth? Strategic priorities must guide resource allocation decisions. 10. Strategy formulation in a dynamic environment. Traditional strategic planning often assumed stable conditions. Today's environment requires adaptive strategy formulation. Organizations must account for technological disruption, artificial intelligence, automation, and digital transformation, globalization, cross-border competition and market integration, sustainability, environmental and social responsibilities, geopolitical risk, trade conflicts, regulatory uncertainty, and political instability, customer expectations, rapidly evolving preferences and behaviors. Modern strategy formulation therefore emphasizes agility and continuous learning. 11. Common strategy formulation mistakes. Organizations often make several strategic errors. Over-reliance on historical success. Past success does not guarantee future competitiveness. Poor environmental analysis. Strategies based on incorrect assumptions frequently fail. Lack of strategic focus. Attempting to pursue too many objectives simultaneously. Ignoring competitive reactions. Competitors often respond aggressively to strategic moves. Resource mismatch. Selecting strategies that exceed organizational capabilities. Successful strategy formulation requires realism, discipline, and evidence-based analysis. 12. Strategy formulation and executive leadership. Executive leaders play a critical role in strategy formulation. Effective strategic leaders. Define strategic direction, evaluate opportunities and risks, allocate resources, build organizational consensus, make difficult trade-offs, balance short-term and long-term objectives. The global MBA program emphasizes that strategy formulation is both an analytical process and a leadership responsibility. It requires data-driven analysis, strategic thinking, judgment, creativity, and organizational alignment. Key takeaways. 1. Strategy formulation is the process of developing and selecting strategic alternatives to achieve organizational objectives. 2. It transforms strategic analysis into strategic action. 3. Strategy formulation occurs at corporate, business, and functional levels. 4. Growth strategies include market penetration, market development, product development, and diversification. 5. Corporate strategies include vertical integration, alliances, mergers, and acquisitions. 6. Competitive strategies typically involve cost leadership, differentiation, or focus. 7. SWOT, TOES, and scenario planning support strategic decision-making. 8. Resource allocation is a critical component of effective strategy formulation. 9. Modern strategy formulation requires adaptability, agility, and continuous learning. 10. Successful strategy formulation integrates analytical rigor, leadership judgment, and long-term value creation to achieve sustainable competitive advantage.